Exclusive contract novel from Feilu Novel Network. Let you popularize the law and hear cases. Do you live stream superhumans? Liu Wei became the presiding judge of the imperial capital and aspired to become a fair and strict judge, handling various cases seriously. But neither the plaintiff nor the defendant who came to him seemed normal. Liu Wei. Tell me why you stole the battery. Be honest, be lenient, and resist strictly. Defendant 1. Because I don't have money to attract fans, I can only steal the battery. Plaintiff 1. 6. Liu Wei. Why do you think your wife has cheated? Defendant 2. Because I found a photo of my wife taking a photo with another man. Plaintiff 2. That TM is a photo of me and my idol. Liu Wei. Why do you still bring a fake gun when you break into a house for theft? Defendant 3. Because I'm afraid of encountering a thief with a knife. Plaintiff number 3. Is this the reason why you shot me while I was cooking? Liu Wei. In the future, if there is another defendant who calls me Master Qingtian and Master Mage, they will all directly. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1. Do I want to live broadcast the trial in court? You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Under the hall filled with seriousness and majesty. Liu Wei stood up straight, under the red national emblem, raised his hand and swore an oath. I swear that I will always be loyal to the Constitution and the law, loyal to the interests of the people, abide by professional ethics, enforce the law seriously, administer justice impartially, be honest in serving the public, defend the dignity of the law, maintain the unity of the legal system, and strive for the cause of the legal system for a lifetime. Every word is so powerful and powerful. There aren't many people in this hall, but everyone's expressions are extremely serious. As for Liu Wei's need for an oath, it is necessary for every person serving here. After truly shouting this sentence, Liu Wei is a true presiding judge serving the law. After taking the oath, one leader as a witness slowly left the scene. Among the remaining few people, a middle-aged man walked over, shook hands with Liu Wei, and smiled. Congratulations, Comrade Liu Wei. You have now become the youngest presiding judge in Chuanqing City. Even if you are the youngest presiding judge among the major provinces in our country, I look forward to your performance, and the Supreme People's Court of Chuanqing City is also looking forward to it. Liu Wei nodded solemnly and said, We will definitely not disappoint the Dean's expectations. After seeing off the Dean, Vice Dean Sun Yu walked over and said with satisfaction, You are truly our comrade Xiao Lu. He is dressed in the standard judge's uniform and looks impressive. Even if he wants to become a live streamer, there is no problem. Liu Wei sincerely said, Vice Dean, you don't have to joke anymore. If it weren't for the cultivation of a few seniors, my growth along the way wouldn't have been so fast. Vice Dean Sun Yu said, You are as humble as before, but the matter of letting you live stream is true. The leader really hopes that you can live stream the entire process during the court trial. Liu Wei. It's equivalent to opening an account. Which type of program anchor is it? The Vice Dean nodded and said yes. Liu Wei was momentarily stunned when he heard these words. Although it is possible to conduct live broadcasts during the trial to let the public know the content. But truly treating the trial as a live broadcast has never been attempted. The Vice Dean continued to explain, due to the current development of the online society, whether it's laws or lawsuits, some loopholes have been infinitely magnified. Even many people have a constant fear of the officialdom, thinking that officialdom is better than private communication. So we hope that one person can truly live stream the situation in court throughout the entire process, so that the public can understand the court and know that we can really help them here. However, the real reason is that some other judges in the court are not as young as Liu Wei. He looks handsome and sunny, with a handsome face that doesn't even carry a hint of femininity. It's really suitable to be a live streamer. Sun Yu patted Liu Wei on the shoulder and said, moreover, we can rest assured of your abilities. You are definitely the fastest improving young person we old men have seen in all these years. So this location for live streaming is none other than yours. This. Liu Wei couldn't help but hesitate for a moment, and just then an electronic version of the prompt sound came into Liu Wei's ear. Ding. The host has been detected as the presiding judge, and the trial system has been activated. Please accept the commission from the Vice Dean as soon as possible to receive the beginner gift package. System. Upon hearing this sound, Liu Wei was taken aback for a moment. He had already lived in this parallel world for 25 years, and your system only emerged. But it seems that the meaning of this system is to make oneself the anchor of this trial court. With the idea of giving it a try, Liu Wei spoke up and said, okay, I'll take on the task of live streaming. Just as Liu Wei spoke, a prompt sound from the system had already been transmitted. Congratulations to the host for completing the beginner task and obtaining the skill. Tell the truth. During the official court hearing, the person you are questioning by the host will be truthful in accordance with your questions and will never have any private information. To be honest, this skill seems quite useful. After all, it is common to have some tough-talking defendants and plaintiffs in court. With this skill, Liu Wei has become more confident in being a qualified judge. And the Vice Dean in front of Liu Wei smiled and said, well, that's great. Then you can prepare tomorrow's case first. Don't worry. Considering that you are currently a beginner and also have to face live streaming scenes, some of the cases we will give you will not be too difficult. The main purpose is still to hope that you can practice your skills in them. Take it, this is the detailed content of the case you want you to handle tomorrow. The Vice Dean handed over several copy bags, which contained the materials for Liu Wei's trial tomorrow. After taking a few glances, Liu Wei exclaimed curiously, the case of stealing electric scooter batteries is not a very difficult one. After all, stealing an electric scooter. Although it does constitute a criminal offense, the financial losses caused by stealing electric scooters are generally only relatively large rather than huge. Even if someone causes trouble in court, the final outcome of the case will not be too unexpected. Vice Dean Sun Yu shook his head and said, no, this case is not as simple as you seem. You can continue to look further. This case also involves acts of bravery and injuring others. P.S. Every day at 10 o'clock, old authors are asking for flowers, evaluation tickets, comments, monthly tickets, and rewards. The first day is really important. Thank you all, Yanzu. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 2. To steal money from an electric scooter, of course you have to buy poison powder. You are listening at novel.Liu. Do you act bravely and harm others? Liu Wei continued to look down and found that this case was indeed like this. Zhou, who stole an electric scooter, was caught during the crime and was beaten severely. Liu, who took action, claimed to have also lost his electric scooter, so he harbored an immense hatred towards the thief and became slightly more serious in his actions. In terms of amount, the amount stolen by Zhou, who stole the car, was not a significant amount, but it was heavily beaten. It's already the third day of the crime, and it's said that he just came out of the hospital today. Therefore, Zhou felt that even if he stole the car and hit LV, he should pay for the medical expenses. LV naturally felt that he should never pay for the medical expenses, so he instead sued Zhou in court. This can also be considered a classic case of bravery and righteousness. Liu Wei took a few glances and made a judgment. Vice Dean Sun Yu nodded and said, that's right, this is the case between a thief and a righteous act. As a person in court, we naturally stand on the side of justice and fairness, on the side of those who act bravely. But sometimes what we say sounds good, but we want to handle some cases perfectly, which is not so easy. According to the normal processing flow of this button, the compensation from Liu, who acted bravely, cannot escape. Although Zhou admitted that he was indeed stealing, it was not LV's electric scooter that was stolen, and LV still physically assaulted someone in public. Therefore, if we truly follow a fair handling process, it will inevitably make those who act bravely feel disheartened. Looking at Liu Wei in thought, the vice dean spoke up. Although this case is not big, it also poses certain difficulties for you. But as a beginner practicing, it is also considered appropriate. Handle it well, I believe you will give a fair and just judgment. Liu Wei nodded in agreement, and then the departing vice dean returned to the office to rest. While reviewing some of the files in his hand, Liu Wei was also testing the functions related to the system in the tester's own mind. To be honest, skill effects can only be triggered during the official court session. It seems like we have to wait until tomorrow. At this moment, Liu Wei didn't think much, but quietly waited for the arrival of tomorrow. Meanwhile, be prepared for live streaming. On the second day, inside the Supreme People's Court of Quangqing City. As the staff slowly arrived, a camera almost showed the entire courtroom without any blind spots. At the same time, a newly promoted live broadcast room has caught everyone's attention on various platforms. What is the situation with this live broadcast room? Why do you suddenly feel like there is propaganda about this live broadcast room everywhere on this platform? And looking at the internal layout of the live broadcast room, it feels like a court, isn't it true? The Supreme People's Court of Quangqing City, and it also has official certification. I'll go. This is actually true. Ah, no wonder platforms have to give way for promotion. This is definitely the toughest live streaming room on the entire platform's back end, isn't it? Isn't that the presiding judge sitting in the main seat? He looks so young. But how handsome. As the number of people in the live broadcast room increased, Liu Wei had already sat in the judge's seat, guiding both the defendant and the plaintiff to take their seats. The defendant, the thief of the electric scooter, Zhou. The plaintiff, LV, who acted bravely but hit someone. Because neither party seems to be wealthy, neither party has hired a lawyer responsible for defense. After some simple opening remarks, Liu Wei said in a deep voice. Silence. Now let me recount the process of the case. The defendant Zhou was planning to steal an electric scooter 4 nights ago, but was unexpectedly discovered by LV. LV suspected that the loss of his electric scooter was also related to Zhou, so he lost his judgment ability and physically assaulted Zhou on the spot. What significance does both parties have regarding the course of this case? At this moment, LV blushed and said, no. Liu, a young man, could tell from his still flushed face that he was still very angry about this matter. Zhou also had no objection to the description of the case, but there was an old oily expression on his face. Although his face was still bruised and swollen, it was evident that his expression was very relaxed. Oh my, I didn't expect the presiding judge in charge of the trial to be so young this time, so stable. A person who comes up so young is probably a beginner, and the other party will definitely judge the case based on the fairness of a law. But for Zhou, what he wants is this fairness. After all, in his opinion, he was beaten so hard and even voluntarily admitted his mistake. Admitting his mistake is also considered a good attitude, so it is not easy for him to receive compensation for being beaten. Liu Wei, is there anything the defendant wants to say about the evidence of committing theft on their own? Zhou said, yes, Your Honor. I admit that I did indeed steal the electric scooter, but this is too unfortunate for me. The maximum amount of money I can get for the electric scooter is only 2,000 yuan. I have already spent thousands of dollars on the cost of inspection in the hospital. Master Qingtian, I believe you are standing on the side of the disadvantaged people. You must make decisions for me. Upon hearing this, LV blushed on the spot, as if he was planning to break out of his seat and give Zhou another beating, but he was soon stopped by the nearby law enforcement officers. The audience in the live broadcast room commented, hey, this case is not very easy to handle. The defendant did indeed steal the electric scooter, but the plaintiff did indeed hit someone on their side. Isn't this supposed to be? You saw a thief stealing something, wouldn't you go up and give him a kick? The defendant's current appearance, as you can see, is not just 2 feet. According to the judge's case, this person was even hospitalized for 3 days. Reasonably, only in self-defense can a person be beaten up like this. However, in that situation, the plaintiff's conditions do not constitute self-defense. The presiding judge looks so young, he wouldn't really want someone to compensate him, would he? While everyone in the barrage area of the live broadcast was discussing, Liu Wei was already asking Zhou the next question. Liu Wei. Please ask the plaintiff to control their emotions. So, Zhou, if you are really related to the recent case of a series of missing electric scooters, where did you spend all the money you stole from the electric scooter? When Liu Wei mentioned this issue, the system's ability to speak the truth had quietly been activated. Liu Wei looked proud at this moment and said, of course, all the money has been spent on buying poison powder. If it weren't for the high cost of buying poison powder, I wouldn't have had to keep taking action these days. LV, ah. Audience in the live broadcast room. Ah. P.S. Every day at 10 o'clock, old authors are asking for flowers, evaluation tickets, comments, monthly tickets, and rewards. The first day is really important. Thank you all, Yanzu. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 3. Solid Hammer. The presiding judge is a wizard. You are listening at novel.Liu. Upon hearing what Zhou said, everyone in the entire courtroom fell silent. Even Liu Wei, who had asked the same question, was stunned for a moment. Because according to common sense, the portion of money sold by Zhou for stealing an electric scooter does not belong to his wealth, and the presiding judge naturally has the right to inquire about the whereabouts of others. He really didn't expect to find a loophole in this area. The effect of speaking the truth is a bit too deceitful. Watching Zhou, who was still sitting in the defendant's seat, proudly recounting how he spent his money, Liu Wei spoke up to ensure a certain level of rationality. Please do not joke in court, the defendant. Every word you say in court will become a formal confession. Zhou said, I'm not joking. During this time, I've been stealing electric scooters continuously, and at least I've earned tens of thousands. If it weren't for me gambling and buying poison powder, I wouldn't have been able to spend so much money in these few days. When saying these words, Zhou's expression remained arrogant, as if he felt that he had been telling the truth, so he could definitely stand on the weaker side. When the people in court heard what Zhou said, their lips couldn't help but twitch. I've seen drug addicts before, but I've never seen them so confident in court. And because there was no chaos in the court, everyone in the court almost suppressed their mouths. But in the chat room of the live broadcast room, everyone has already exploded. I'll go. Brother who stole the electric scooter, are you serious? Why are you still looking proud? He doesn't think it's a proud thing to attract that kind of fan, does he? Look at him like this, he probably thinks so. Not only did he attract fans, but he even got involved in gambling now. I was so happy. I thought it was just a person stealing an electric scooter, but I didn't expect such a thing to happen. It's truly an official live broadcast program, the effect is really good. Is there a possibility that even judges wouldn't know? What is it called? The presiding judge is called a wizard. Oh, why does this trial look so strange? It turns out that the presiding judge is a wizard. Not to mention the audience in the live broadcast room, even the Vice Dean Sun Yu, who is currently watching the live broadcast backstage, couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of tea while watching the content in court. I assigned you to be in charge of a small case of stealing an electric scooter in court, and you actually interrogated me about things related to drugs and gambling. Especially in this case, it was originally planned for Liu Wei to practice his skills in the first trial, but it turned out to be such a bizarre experience. Especially this is still a live broadcast. What kind of thing is this? In court, Liu Wei quickly calmed down after being shocked by the effectiveness of the system. Knocked on the table and signaled to a nearby bailiff. After seeing Liu Wei's action, the law enforcement officers immediately walked out of the courtroom. This is some cooperation between the law enforcement officers and the presiding judge, which facilitates the law enforcement officers to wait for opportunities and investigate more important matters at any time. After being prepared, Liu Wei continued to ask, "Where did you buy those toxic powders that week, and where did you participate in gambling?" Zhou said, "Of course they are all in the same place. We gathered with a few people to gamble and play, and what we gamble on is gambling fans. There should be a lot hidden in the place where we gamble. I may be locked up for a few months after receiving medical expenses this time, but after I come out, I will have more money to continue gambling there." As he spoke, Zhou's face still showed a very excited expression. Continuing to speak, "Your Excellency, Judge, you see that I am such an honest and virtuous citizen, so you must sentence me to at least receive medical compensation." Liu Wei. Plaintiff LV. Vice Dean observing behind the scenes. This time, Zhou not only reported the location of his gambling, but also revealed his motivation to commit the crime. Liu Wei also fully understood that his honest system was indeed not as effective as usual. To be honest, this is not equivalent to mechanical hypnosis, but rather makes people appear so natural when explaining problems. But it has to be said that this thing is also quite helpful for the court. At this moment, the audience in the live broadcast room had already bloomed with joy. "Ha ha ha. You actually claim to be an honest and virtuous citizen, ha ha ha. I'm sure that from now on, Zhou, the electric scooter thief, will become a legend on the internet. I stole cars, used drugs, gambled, but when I confessed, I was very honest, so I must be a good citizen in a vulnerable group." The plaintiff and other staff members' bewildered faces in the court you saw are so funny. "Thank you, I thought the court should be a very serious place, but I'm sorry, I really can't hold back." Surprisingly, this time we didn't just carry one person, but a whole nest. I guess the people in that entire hideout didn't expect that they would be betrayed in this situation. "Judge, Your Excellency, you are definitely not a judge, you are a wizard. You're not in trial, you're doing something. P.S. Every day at 10 o'clock, old authors are asking for flowers, evaluation tickets, comments, monthly tickets, and rewards. The first day is really important. Thank you all, Yanzu. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 4. Forensic Police. Where is the agreed upon interrogation of the thief? You are listening at novel.Liu. Cough. Because the defendant's situation is different from the original case description, the court is now adjourned for 15 minutes. Please take the defendant away. In order to prevent Zhou from continuing this week, Liu Wei also directly announced an adjournment. After all, the next question to ask him is about where the casino is located, and questions like this cannot be revealed to the audience. Liu Wei, who was in court, did not know how many people were in his live broadcast room, but he would definitely not do anything to scare the snake. If you happen to ask someone near the casino, something unexpected may happen. Therefore, Liu Wei also decisively decided to adjourn the court and, during the adjournment, interrogate the important issues involved. The plaintiff, LV, said, "I feel like I've got something really wrong with me." After muttering to himself, the plaintiff LV also walked towards the rest area. He already knew that the next thing probably had little to do with him, and he didn't get mixed up with those poisonous fans or gambling. As for Zhou, the perpetrator of the crime, he is probably going to suffer a lot. When Liu Wei announced the adjournment, the truthful effect brought by the system automatically disappeared. At this moment, Zhou, who had originally maintained a proud expression on his face, began to sweat coldly. What did he say just now? How dare he say it out of his own mouth? Upon reaching this point, Zhou also anxiously said, "Your Excellency, Judge, Liu Wei. People are responsible for what they say. You have the right to remain silent until the truth is found out in our trial." Liu Wei is also too lazy to listen to what Zhou plans to say in court. It's better to have someone investigate the case immediately now. The two law enforcement officers in court didn't say anything and went up directly to carry Zhou away in place. After seeing this scene in the live broadcast room, the audience was also happy. Isn't there anything else I want to explain this week? With his temperament, I think he would say, "Your Excellency, I have already told the truth. You must take it lightly." Liu, that's just a beautiful idea. If he only consumes gambling fans and gambles, then it's not a big deal. But if combined with the theft of electric scooters, then he is causing social harm due to his use of toxic powder. Being confined at home and using drugs is not harmful. It's rehabilitation and detention, but as long as it poses a threat to social security, guess what, for a few years. I'm more concerned about whether Zhou will have the same level of confidence when he eats his fast food, But on the other hand, why did the presiding judge announce a recess now? Is there still 15 minutes left? Then I recommend you think about it yourself. Of course, 15 minutes is not enough time to learn from Zhou that he doesn't understand the location of gambling, and he sent the law enforcement to deliver a pot of soup. But it's enough to give Zhou a quick physical examination. The court has a procuratorial organ responsible for human health. As long as they check whether someone has ingested toxic powder next week, they can directly determine the truth of what Zhou said. 10 minutes later, a reaction was also transmitted as a report. Your Excellency, Zhou has recently ingested excessive amounts of morphine in his body. This person has indeed been using toxic powder. And according to the physical examination report, this person has been using drugs for another period of time. Liu Wei. In a separate interrogation room, Liu Wei also held this physical examination report and placed it in front of Zhou, speaking up. Now you don't need to explain more. Let's talk specifically about where you and your group of friends gambled and participated in drug powder consumption. The effect of being truthful can only be used and activated when the trial is announced in court. But now, through this medical examination report, Liu Wei has already obtained sufficient evidence. Any sophistry is now pale and powerless. At this moment, Zhou also looked at the presiding judge with a pale face. When he saw Liu Wei's unchanged white paper report lined up on the table in front of him, he was also startled all over. Now he trembled and asked, "What? Your Excellency, how did I say those things in court? I had already prepared some cunning arguments in secret about the money transactions related to stealing electric scooters, but how could I have said so by chance in court? Are you a fool? Or is it the judge in front of me who caused this?" Of course, Liu Wei will not explain that he has a system, but will continue to say so. Perhaps it's because your psychological defense line is not as strong as you imagine. When people are in court, they will have a special idea that makes them unable to resist wanting to tell the truth. Zhou was also stunned by these words. He couldn't help but start doubting whether his psychological defense line was so fragile. Just listening to the presiding judge pat the table, my psychological defense line collapsed and I couldn't help but tell the truth. In the following 5 minutes, after a period of self-doubt, Zhou also reported gambling and drug addiction. Liu Wei did not hesitate at all and immediately reported it to the law enforcement team in Chuanqing City. The law enforcement team responsible for preparing for law enforcement at any time was also stunned when they heard Liu Wei's report. Is it agreed that today's case was originally a case of a thief stealing an electric scooter? How did you pull out a poisonous powder nest? P.S. Every day at 10 o'clock, old authors are asking for flowers, evaluation tickets, comments, monthly tickets, and rewards. The first day is really important. Thank you all, Yanzu. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 5. The Guy You Beat Up Without Human Rights. You are listening at novel.Audio. However, the confusion returned. The court and the law enforcement officers were originally a family, so upon receiving the report, the law enforcement team immediately drove away. The specific amount of gains will depend on waiting for the members of the law enforcement team to return before continuing the investigation. And the 15-minute recess has also ended, and Zhou was also taken to the trial site by 2 people in a daze. Compared to that, the plaintiff's LV was very calm and indifferent. Instead, he walked back to his original position with a storytelling expression on his face. The audience watching the excitement in the live broadcast room can no longer wait. The 15-minute recess has finally passed, and now the Mage can continue with the procedure. How could there still be someone watching the excitement on site, envious, jealous, and hateful? The people on the plaintiff's side have also directly become the melon-eating masses. I don't care, anyway, I want to see the presiding judge continue with his actions. Of course, continuing to watch the play is not possible. Although there may be some surprises in court, this is not a place for laughter and playfulness. With sufficient evidence, it is time to close the case now. Liu Wei. The defendant's statement is complete. Do the plaintiff have anything else to add? LV said, no more, please continue, Your Excellency. Liu Wei. So, the verdict of the trial is announced. The defendant Zhou committed theft, gambling, and consuming poisonous powder, which seriously endangers public order. The evidence is conclusive, and I have no objection. Zhou is now sentenced to 7 years imprisonment. During this period, he will be sent to the Labor Reform Agency for labor reform, while also compensating 30,000 yuan and returning all stolen property. Zhou's face was also pale, but he still spoke stubbornly, Your Excellency, is there any compensation for my medical expenses? Upon hearing this, the crowd in court couldn't help but take another look at Zhou. This person really wants money. Liu Wei said seriously, regarding the defendant's claim to compensate for medical expenses, it will not be accepted. When you endanger public security due to drug use, you will no longer be able to enjoy the protection of political rights. The incident of your brawl is not closely related to this case, therefore it is not accepted. As for the plaintiff, LV, who intervened to stop those who seriously endangered public order, he should be awarded a commendation. As soon as this verdict was made, Zhou also faced the scene as ashes. Liu was also taken aback and then exclaimed with joy, I actually have a commendation. Thank you, Your Honor. Liu Wei said, you deserve it because of your brave and righteous actions. Only the court can solve such a big case, and you don't have to worry about your brave and righteous actions in the first place. When you target a thief with a truly righteous and courageous identity, you can rest assured that this thief's identity is definitely dirtier than yours. If the other party will go to court over the so-called medical compensation, then let them do it. Our court is willing to investigate this matter to the end. Close the case. Liu Wei's words may seem like they were meant for some people in court, but in reality, everyone could hear them. They were meant for the various viewers in the live broadcast room. The audience in the live broadcast room also cheered, okay. Who said this case was difficult for our Mage before? Who can explain to me? What is the reason why the presiding judge said he won't provide medical compensation? What you mean is, you are a person who endangers public order. You are a guy who doesn't even have human rights, so naturally others will hit you if they want to. So you see, isn't this verdict reasonable and reasonable? Who knew that such a strange thing could come out during this verdict? If you ask me, why don't we just avoid any so-called medical compensation this week? All of a sudden, we'll go straight into it in 7 years. And there is also content about bravery and righteousness. What the presiding judge said is really great. If you all see volunteers fighting for it, are you still worried that the other party will end up arguing with you? If the other party wants to end the trouble, then let it go. Anyway, I don't believe that some brave and righteous people can have even dirtier identities than those petty thieves. Great, I finally see that those who act bravely for righteousness have a legitimate reward. Well, actually the bigger reason is that Zhou has increased his own value, otherwise based on his identity as the thief before, he probably wouldn't have received a reward. How do I feel like I have a crush on this young Chief Justice? Is it because the Chief Justice is doing things again? Vice Dean Sun Yu, who was also watching the live broadcast content in the office, nodded in satisfaction. This kid is really suitable for live streaming. Although there were some unexpected incidents during the trial, it can be seen from Liu Wei's midway recess and his final judgment that he, as the Vice Dean, was very satisfied. Especially Liu Wei's final judgment on the matter of acting bravely for righteousness. The spirit of being brave and righteous is to have a clear conscience. If it's a big deal, our court can investigate the identities of both parties and see who has a darker identity. Although this may seem absurd, it also has its own dominance in the court. This kid really shows off the dominance of the trial to Zhang to the fullest. P.S. Every day at 10 o'clock, old authors are asking for flowers, evaluation tickets, comments, monthly tickets, and rewards. The first day is really important. Thank you all, Yanzu. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 6. What kind of Justice Qingtian? This is a wizard. You are listening at novel.Liu. After the trial ended, Liu Wei first wrote a report and recorded the content of the trial in the archives, and then breathed a sigh of relief in the office. The content of this first case is so bizarre. I don't know what kind of thoughts those who look through the files will have when they are recorded in the files. The original theft case has been transformed into a serious threat to public security. After thinking about it later, Liu Wei realized that it didn't seem like he was worried about anything. Let's take a look at the system first. I don't know what rewards will be given after the first case is closed. Liu Wei also clicked on the system's list and indeed found a new prompt in it. Congratulations on completing the trial and obtaining 7 trial points. The skill carousel has been opened for the host, and skills can be drawn once for every 5 trial points paid. If you draw the same skill, your proficiency in the previous skill will increase, then let's draw once and see what comes out this time. To be honest, this skill is really useful in court, but there is also a limitation that it can only be used during court sessions. Not to mention in daily life, even if Liu Wei only says a sentence of rest, this skill will automatically interrupt. If I could draw this skill again, wouldn't I be able to release it whenever I want? But soon, Liu Wei heard the prompt sound. Draw skill. Shadowless hand. Current remaining trial value. 2 points. Shadowless hand. I wonder if this is not a skill used by thieves. Is it a bit inappropriate for this system to impart the skills used by such a thief to such a blue sky judge? The only advantage is that there are no restrictions on the use of this skill. Liu Wei can use it wherever he wants, and at most, this skill is used by thieves. But before Liu Wei could complain about it, there was a knock on the door. Please come in. Ha, Xiao Lu, you did a good job. The judgments and words you have received on the internet are all positive. Vice Dean Sun Yu also walked in with a face full of spring light and patted Liu Wei's shoulder. Before Liu Wei Duo could react, the Vice Dean continued to praise, the accidents in court also surprised us. None of us had expected that the defendant would still be like this. But you remained calm and continued the verdict, and you also discovered a crucial issue in this case, which is where the money went. Of course, the most important thing is that you have brought us a positive boost in the court this time. Upon hearing these words, Liu Wei also asked, Vice Dean, what does it mean to have a really good positive return? Vice Dean. You don't know how difficult it is to be a judge these days. We are standing on the side of fairness, but our judgment cannot stand on everyone's fairness. The final verdict is in line with people's thoughts. The masses may not settle it. But if the final verdict does not satisfy the people, then for us judges, it would be difficult for us to just go out and have a meal. Our court used to have someone with the same surname as you, Liu, who could be considered your senior. It was because he was too rational during the trial that he was criticized by netizens for writing some essays for several years. In those years, he even covered his face like a bandit when he went out to eat. In the end, he couldn't bear his psychological pressure and resigned. Even among young people, there is a saying that advises people to learn the Dharma, heaven strikes and thunder strikes. So it's been a long time since we, the entire court, have seen such a positive effect that can be pulled out for promotion. As he spoke, the vice dean also asked someone to bring a laptop over and let Liu Wei browse the website on it. And this website is their official website disguised as the Supreme People's Court, and now under this official website, it is also filled with positive comments from major netizens. Liu Wei also placed his computer on the table and read several of the highest-rated comments. Do you call this a judge? Which judge can sentence someone 7 years imprisonment for a theft case? And it's reasonable, so someone must be secretly doing it. I have roughly looked at it, and if we follow the previous judge's procedures, this case is likely to be judged as a win-win situation. The defendant is detained for a few months, and the plaintiff needs to compensate several thousand yuan. Yeah, I thought acting bravely would come at a cost, but I didn't expect the court to be even more domineering and domineering. The wizard said, if you dare to make a fuss, you dare to investigate. If it's a big deal, in the end, we'll see who's dirtier. So indeed, the times have not changed, it's just necessary to make those who act bravely have stronger courage. Tears streaming down my face, there's finally a very handsome little brother among the judges now. Upstairs, it seems that your focus is not quite right. The next live broadcast of the trial is underway. If the live broadcast effect of the Mage is not as good, I will definitely not like it. After reading several comments with a high proportion from top to bottom, the vice dean also walked over and smiled, how about it? After reading these comments, do you also feel your confidence is bursting? Liu Wei smiled bitterly and said, most of it's because of the dramatic nature of today's case. I would rather I could try some normal cases in court. Vice Dean. Don't worry, there shouldn't be such a thing in the next case. The next case is related to a car accident. P.S. Every day at 10 o'clock, old authors are asking for flowers, evaluation tickets, comments, monthly tickets, and rewards. The first day is really important. Thank you all, Yanzu. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 7. Drunk driving and collision with Porcelain, Born 1. You are listening at novel.Liu. Cases related to car accidents. This statement surprised Liu Wei for a moment. Normally, if a traffic accident occurs, such a traffic incident is handed over to the traffic police team for handling, and most of the time it will not cause trouble in court. After all, the traffic police itself is equivalent to a trial, and the verdict from the traffic police team will not give you a chance for a second trial. After thinking for a moment, Liu Wei also guessed, is it related to compensation? Vice Dean. Yes, you can review the specific content of these files first. The Vice Dean also ordered someone to bring another paper file over. After quickly browsing through it, Liu Wei couldn't help but be taken aback. The drunk driver knocked down the person who hit the porcelain, and the person who hit the porcelain asked the drunk driver to compensate for 400,000 yuan in medical expenses, but the drunk driver refused. The verdict of the traffic police is subjective. Those who drive under the influence of alcohol will have their driver's license revoked and will be fined and detained. People who failed to hit porcelain were harshly criticized and educated, but the incident of being hit and injured was not mentioned at all. This is a pure pair of crouching dragon and phoenix chicks. The drunk driver knocked down the person, and if other netizens look at it like this, they must think it's definitely a good thing. Anyway, no matter who is at a disadvantage, one of these two people will inevitably suffer a big loss. But the people on both sides are also experienced experts, so even the members of the traffic police brigade have a headache when dealing with real cases. Subsequently, the people from both sides went to court. The plaintiff is Zhao, a woman who is involved in porcelain collision. The defendant is Cui, who drove under the influence of alcohol. After watching Liu Wei finish flipping through the file, the vice dean spoke up and said, "So, Comrade Liu Wei, do you think this case is difficult to handle?" Liu Wei: "A bit, but not too high. Although both the person who hit the porcelain and the person who drives under the influence are quirks and old tricks, the traffic police have already given the first layer of judgment, so the next area for both sides to argue about is money. Matters related to money are in court. It's really not the most difficult thing. Human life, children, marriage, property, there are even more troublesome household chores, so this case is not really a troublesome one." The vice president also understood and said with satisfaction, "You are truly the most outstanding young person in our highest people's court. So, this case this afternoon depends on you." In the afternoon, the live broadcast room was already full of people waiting for the official hearing. Why hasn't the trial started yet? Even if the trial starts this afternoon, the person in charge of serving as the presiding judge won't be a mage, right? I've said several times that the mage's original name was Liu Wei, but if we call him Habit, we can also call him Mage directly. Don't worry, I have already asked someone on the official website forum and said that there have been no special circumstances with this official account, otherwise the process of the mage's judgment will continue to play. Oh, then I can rest assured. Let's first see a judge decide what kind of marriage case to settle. After reading it, it almost raised my blood pressure. I can't trust other judges now, I can only trust Master. Oh, by the way, the law enforcement can also trust it. By noon today, the law enforcement had already reported an incident, as if they had arrested a group of people involved in gambling and drug powder sales. All right. That morning's case has finally come to a complete end. But the case that needs to be judged this afternoon is the biggest pleasure I've been following lately. What kind of fun? Let's hear it. One-sentence solution. The drunk driver bumped into the porcelain bumper. Ah. If there's such an operation, then I suggest these two people get married in place. The content of this case alone is already so bizarre. I wonder if it will become even more bizarre after being practiced by the mage on site for a while. At least you believe that the court is a serious place. The case that was concluded this morning was completely accidental. Stop talking, the wizard is here. As the number of people in the live broadcast room increased, Liu Wei also sat back in the judge's seat and looked down at the seat below. Ms. Zhao from the plaintiff's side appears to have an average figure, but the scent of rouge powder on her face is also particularly strong. Standing on the defendant's side, Cui appeared to be a very honest person, but he has now been shaved off because the drunk driving case has been settled. No matter what the final verdict is today, he will go to jail. Is this judge actually a young man? I'm not sure if he's interested in my mother. Ms. Zhao, standing on the defendant's side, immediately glanced at Liu Wei as she saw how young and handsome he was. After all, when adjudicating a case, the judge's personal emotional bias is also an important factor. Zhao felt that as a woman, she must have some attraction to Liu Wei. However, Liu Wei didn't even glance at it, just spoke the opening remarks and asked both sides to present evidence based on the facts. And the accident liability determination letter from the traffic police brigade, as well as the surveillance footage at the scene of the accident. After completing these processes, Liu Wei also spoke up. So now let me recount the entire process of the case. One night ago, driver Chui was drunk driving a car, and there were 4 people in his car, including him. Net friend, upon hearing these words, netizens were all bewildered. What kind of daring person is this Nima? He dares to ride in a car driven by a drunk driver. P.S. Every day at 10 o'clock, old authors are asking for flowers, evaluation tickets, comments, monthly tickets, and rewards. The first day is really important. Thank you all, Yanzu. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 8 Driver. My car is carrying a murder. You are listening at novel.Liu. However, what surprised the audience in the live broadcast room even more was still to come. Liu Wei continued to recount the incident and said, and the other 3 people in the car all knew that Chui was a drunk driver. Later in the early morning, when Chui drove his car from another city, he happened to collide with Ms. Zhao, who was lying on the roadside at night, bumping into Porcelain. So Chui reacted quickly and braked in time at the moment when the car was about to collide with a person. Despite this, she still knocked the person down. Later, Ms. Zhao demanded that Chui compensate 400,000 yuan, but the 2 sides disagreed. That's it. Liu Wei finished reading expressionlessly at this moment, but the group of followers in the live broadcast were all stunned as they listened to Liu Wei's words. Bully, the driver and the person who was hit are actually a pair of sleeping dragons and phoenix chicks. I really suggest getting married in place. A person was driving under the influence of alcohol, with 3 people still in the car, and the other person was hitting Porcelain on the road in the middle of the night. Why does anyone dare to ride in a car driven by someone who is drunk? The last time my dad got drunk and wanted to drive, I forcefully pulled him back and called for a driver. And surprisingly, there are still people who choose to hit the Porcelain at what o'clock in the morning at night. It's the least crowded time every day, right? Indeed, the world is vast and full of wonders. Strange refers to something strange. I'm sorry, I've never seen this scene before. JPG, but isn't this the same yet? I want to see how many jokes these 2 sides can make in court. Amidst the expectant gaze of the audience, Liu Wei also looked at the plaintiff in a deep voice and said, now please ask the plaintiff to state the request to the court, as well as the facts and reasons on which it is based. Ms. Zhao also stood up and said, I demand that this unscrupulous driver compensate me for 400,000 yuan in medical expenses. Although I have been touching Porcelain, it's a matter of fact. The incident of touching Porcelain has already been punished in the traffic police brigade. At that time, even if I really walked well on the road, I would still be knocked down by a drunk driver. So I hope Your Excellency can severely punish those who drive under the influence of alcohol. The meaning of this statement is also very obvious, which means that although I hit the Porcelain, I was hit by someone driving under the influence of alcohol. Liu Wei naturally understood the meaning behind these words, but he was too lazy to guess what Ms. Zhao was thinking. Instead, he turned his head to the other side and spoke. Please ask the defendant to present their request to the court, along with the reasons and facts on which it is based. Chui also stood up anxiously and said, Master Qingtian. Don't listen to his nonsense, she hasn't been hurt at all. Where did she get 400,000 yuan in compensation? Master Qingtian, I. Liu Wei. In court, you can directly refer to me as a judge and a judge. Other terms are not accepted here. Upon hearing this, the audience in the live broadcast room also smiled knowingly. Ha ha ha, Master Qingtian. Can't you call the judge, Master Qingtian, in court? In most cases, shouting is not allowed, but it mainly depends on the judge's mood. Isn't it appropriate for the people in our live broadcast room to call the judge, Master, every day? Do you think this is called a wizard's injustice? If it weren't for someone practicing in court every day, how could the program effect of each day's trial be so good? Indeed, I love watching dogs bite dogs the most. Oh, no, I'm not talking about Master, I'm talking about the defendant and the plaintiff. During the audience discussion in the live broadcast room, the plaintiff and defendant on the itinerary almost got into a quarrel again. After Liu Wei knocked the hammer, he also spoke up and asked, "Next are some supplementary descriptions based on the case." Mr. Chui, according to the investigation, one of the 3 passengers in your car did not drink alcohol, and he also holds the relevant driver's license. Why don't you entrust him with driving? Are you unaware of the dangers of drunk driving? Liu Wei had a vague feeling that the case this time was not so simple, whether it was Ms. Zhao who came to pick up Porcelain in the middle of the night or Chui who knew he was drunk but had 3 passengers on board. When saying these words, the truthful effect from the system is also automatically activated. Chui also looked helpless and said, "The sky is vast." Cough, "No, Your Honor. Of course, I know the dangers of drunk driving. But the same person who can drive in my car has been shaking his hands almost ever since he got in. Let him drive, maybe it's better to let me drive." Liu Wei. What is the reason for the person sitting in your car's trembling hands? Is it due to a physical illness? It's summer now, although it may be colder at night, it's not like sitting in a car and still feeling cold and trembling. Chui explained, he doesn't have any symptoms. I guess it's probably because this is also his first time killing someone. He can't let go of it, so his hands kept shaking while riding the car. Everyone in court. Audiences in the live broadcast room. Liu Wei. So you knew from the beginning that your car was carrying a murderer? Chui said, yes. A group of viewers in the live broadcast room, lying in the trough, the Mage started working again. P.S. Every day at 10 o'clock, old authors are asking for flowers, evaluation tickets, comments, monthly tickets, and rewards. The first day is really important. Thank you all, Yanzu. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 9 Driver. I was threatened by a murderer. You are listening at novel.Liu. The audience in the live broadcast room is now boiling again. The person driving with you is not only drunk, but also carrying a murderer in your car, and you still know the identity of this murderer. In a situation where human life is at stake, your drunk driving case will have to be pushed back a bit. I am truly a wizard. A wizard knows what program effects are. Why are you shaking your hands? Because of course the person I killed had their hands shaking. Can this be considered as just finding out the truth? After all, in the original case, we blinded the people who drove under the influence of alcohol and those who collided with Porcelain. However, we didn't expect the Mage to directly investigate a more serious situation. Transporting murderers. Let me see how many more layers of sentence this defendant needs to add. It's not just the audience in the live broadcast room watching the fun. Vice Dean Sun Xian, who was watching backstage, also felt a headache and said, "Why is there such a thing? This kid can't really just not come up with any normal cases, can he?" He still remembers promising Liu Wei at noon that the difficulty of this case was not high because it did not involve human life. Then Liu Wei immediately interrogated a murderer on the spot. The speed of this slapping is also a bit too fast. At the court scene, Liu Wei's reaction was as swift as ever, and he immediately announced. Rest for 20 minutes, and bring all 3 people in Chui's car. Charge. Suspected of murder. Yes, Your Honor. The law enforcement officers who are ready to cooperate with the work at any time also immediately left, ready to invite someone to come over. After Liu Wei announced the adjournment of the court, the truthfulness effect from the system automatically disappeared. Cui, who was originally standing in the defendant's position, instantly reacted and began to turn pale on the spot. What did I say just now? I actually said these words just now. His face turned pale, and after thinking for a while, Cui's reaction was also very rapid. Immediately thinking of a way to break the game, he spoke up. Your Honor, I was also wrongly forced. It was the murderer who forced me to take him away, and I was also threatened. Otherwise, I knew the dangers of drunk driving. Why drink and drive in the middle of the night? Although he was defending himself, Liu Weijian didn't want to talk and waved his hand, asking someone to take Cui down. During the 20-minute recess, the 3 passengers sitting in Cui's car were also quickly brought over. After all, these 3 individuals themselves were considered witnesses at the scene of the crime, so they were already under the control of the court and were naturally able to bring them over quickly. And due to the evidence provided by the driver, the murderer was quickly pulled out of the 3 people, while the remaining 2 were detained at the trial site. After 20 minutes, the trial continued as usual, but there were also a few more people at the trial site. One of them, a man who appeared to be around 30 years old, was standing at the trial site with 2 law enforcement officers pressing his shoulders. Liu Wei. We are currently conducting supplementary investigations into the case. During the trial, Cui reported that the reason he drove under the influence of alcohol was because a murderer was on board the car. So, Mr. E, do you admit this accusation? After reviewing the files, Liu Wei found out that the suspected murderer had the surname E. In addition, because in the case of live streaming, if someone needs to be called in court, they need to call the other party's surname, as long as the judge and the people present at the court know who the other party is, it is sufficient. At this moment, E, who was being detained by 2 law enforcement officers, also looked confused and immediately spoke up. Your Honor, I'm wrongly accused. This person clearly doesn't want to take responsibility for drunk driving on his own. That's why he pushed the evidence onto me. How could I possibly be a murderer? As he spoke, E gave Cui a fierce glare, as if questioning why he had exposed himself. However, it seems that Cui is completely afraid to respond to this gaze. After all, this is in court. Every move in the court is under the gaze of the judge, and even a glance in response will be seen by the judge. Therefore, Cui, who was originally a driver, also cried and explained, Your Honor, I was indeed threatened. If you don't believe me, you can ask someone to check how high my alcohol concentration was when I was drinking. Liu Wei. No need to check. When you were driving under the influence of alcohol, your alcohol concentration of 200 milliliters belonged to the category of severe drunk driving. 200 milliliters refers to blood alcohol content reaching 200 milligrams/100 milliliters or more. Driver Cui also cried and explained, Yes, Your Honor. I definitely drank a lot back then, but at that time, I could still keep my mind clear. When I saw someone lying on the ground, I knew to brake directly. Although my reaction was a bit slow, I at least stopped. Because I know there's a murderer sitting in my own car, even if I drink a lot of alcohol, I still wake up. This statement has caused a lot of discussion among the audience in the live broadcast room. What he said is indeed true. If the alcohol concentration is above 200 milliliters, it is estimated that the whole person will be dizzy. So under normal circumstances, based on his alcohol content standard, when encountering someone hitting Porcelain, it is estimated that there is no time to brake and he will simply drive over. Unless something special happens that allows him to maintain a high level of mental tension for a long time, it is necessary to ensure clarity. Can this driver really be threatened? P.S. Every day at 10 o'clock, old authors are asking for flowers, evaluation tickets, comments, monthly tickets, and rewards. The first day is really important. Thank you all, Yanzu. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 10. Can drunk driving be the one to cry wrongs? You are listening at novel.Liu. Not only do the audience feel this way, but even the people in court feel the same way. After all, if a person's alcohol intake concentration is really high, it is almost impossible to maintain a clear consciousness. If a person consumes 200 milliliters of alcohol under normal circumstances, it is impossible for them to brake when they see someone on the road. Unless something very nerve-stimulating happens to the drinker. The fact that the car was carrying a murderer clearly meets this condition. However, they will not make such an easy judgment, and the only person who can make a judgment in court is the presiding judge. Liu Wei. So, Mr. E, do you admit to killing someone? E. I. Originally, E also did not want to admit it. After all, he is certain that there is absolutely no evidence at the moment. But soon, to be honest, the system's aura effect activated, making him unable to resist speaking. Yes, Your Honor, I killed someone in the early morning and evening of last night. Suddenly, there was a commotion on the scene. The murderer in front of me was brought over due to an accident, and currently the court does not have conclusive evidence, but he admits to killing someone. Do current criminals have such a high level of self-awareness? Liu Wei appeared very calm and continued to inquire, so Mr. E, please truthfully report the information of the victim. When did you commit the crime? How did you do it? And where is the victim's body now? After Liu Wei's words fell through, a law enforcement officer immediately approached and placed blank sheets of paper and pens in front of E. After seeing it, E was taken aback. What should I write? Why did I just tell the truth by chance just now? My brain is sick, isn't it? But soon, under the oppression of a group of law enforcement officers and the court, E truthfully wrote down his own story. Watching E first write down the victim's information, Liu Wei also asked the deputy examiner next to him. Has anyone reported the missing victim yet? A deputy judge standing next to Liu Wei also spoke up, Your Excellency, the victim you mentioned has a solitary personality and doesn't make many friends on a daily basis, let alone a stable job. Therefore, during the day of his disappearance, no one reported the incident. Liu Wei nodded, then combined with several parties in the court and some matters under investigation, summarized the matters and said. In the case of supplementary investigation, new evidence still appears. Now let me describe the process of the case again. Liu Wei cleared his throat and said seriously. After the suspect E killed the victim in the wilderness outside the city, he wanted to escape from the scene, so he asked Chui for a taxi. Chui only found out after arriving at the scene that the person who booked the car was a murderer. However, he was threatened by the murderer and had to drive. However, due to the presence of a murderer in the car, he was very scared. E drank alcohol and had the courage to take the road. When the car was about to collide with someone, although the driver Chui drank a lot of alcohol, he was in a highly tense and focused state of mind and stopped the car in time, which did not cause the defendant Ms. Zhao to be hit too hard. Drunk driver Chui said, Yes, Your Honor, you're absolutely right. When Liu Wei revealed the details of this series of cases, Chui, who was originally standing in the defendant's position, had already applauded and cheered. There was an expression that seemed like someone had finally understood me. And in the live broadcast room, a group of people also started playing 666. I never expected that one day drunk driving would become a very unfair party. But according to this logical analysis, the cause of this accident is actually on the murderer. The drunk driver can really cry out for justice. It's truly a court of law. It's truly insightful. If we hadn't found out this step, we probably would have let the real ones get away with it long ago. Indeed, most of us are probably people who have been hit by drunk driving, and this case has caught our attention. But the people in the court saw it more fairly and further, and as a result, they caught the real culprit. The wizard sitting in court, you really have the ability. Ha ha ha. I'll tell you, master, he's done it again. This time, he's done a method to automatically reveal the true culprit's true form. The chat room in the live broadcast room also heard waves of praise. After all, in the eyes of the audience, this case can be completely closed. Not only can the case be closed, but also an unexpected gain can be caught, which is who secretly killed someone. But after reviewing the files in his hand, Liu Wei realized that there were still some doubts that had not been resolved, so he asked the defendants Cui and Liu Wei. But there is another question here, which is that the number of people on the car is incorrect. If you admit to being a ride-hailing person, why are there 2 other passengers in your car besides Mr. Who is the third person to board? And before that, you had already admitted that these 2 people were not your relatives. So why are there so many people in your car? Cui said, that's for sure. If you want to kill someone, throw their bodies, and bury them in a pit, there will only be 1 or 2 people. It's definitely not enough. Everyone else is responsible for digging pits and burying bodies. Audience in the live broadcast room. Do you still have experts? P.S. Every day at 10 o'clock, old authors are asking for flowers, evaluation tickets, comments, monthly tickets, and rewards. The first day is really important. Thank you all, Yanzu. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th.